All right, guys. So it's officially sweater weather season. So you'll have to excuse me if I sound a little bit nasally because it's getting fucking cold over here. But why is it so hard for people these days to actually be confident? And I'm not talking about all these gimmicks like, you learn about maintaining eye contact or um, speaking a certain way, working on your posture, working on building muscle and all that shit. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about being your absolute authentic self and really just showing the world who you actually are and not giving a fuck about anything else but just being yourself. Like, why is it so hard for people to actually do this? And I'm gonna explain in this video the three different stages of confidence, because the truth is, whether you know it or not, is that everybody has confidence. Everybody, everybody has, even the most locked up individual who just stays inside his room or her room, like uh, the most socially outcasted introvert that you know. That person has confidence too. And you feel like that's you. You have confidence. Everybody has it. The problem is that everybody has a different spectrum of of having that power, of holding it in and actually embodying that confidence and that authentic self. So I'm going to go over the different stages of confidence. And so the first one, if you ever watch like Dragon Ball Z, I'm going to use this analogy of, when Goku becomes a Super Saiyan, right? There's different levels. He goes from Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Fucking hell, man. My nose is messed up. But the first one is the first stage is the child. Okay, this is Super Saiyan 1. And you're born into this state when you're in level 1 mode. Your unfiltered self. This is where you're explosive, you're raw, it's your true raw self. And this is the first level, right? Any babies, any children, they don't have this um you know they can't comprehend social um consequences, right? They're just themselves. They don't care if people complain about them being too loud, whether they're crying or whatever. They're just them. Okay, they do what they want, they like what they want, they don't give a shit. And this is the child. Everyone has been a child at some stage. Everyone has been in this level where you're Super Saiyan 1. And the power that everybody has in this level is that energetic free spirit, right? You just you just have no care in the world because you're just living in the present moment. Okay, it's a very, very powerful stage to be at. And a lot of people would say that babies and young children under the age of 7, they are the most spiritual beings on earth. Okay, it's not the wise elders, it's not the 30, 20-year olds that meditate and they, you know, are much more spiritual. No, it's the fucking kids. It's the babies and the young children under the age of 7. These are the most spiritual people because they are just themselves. They are not influenced by anything else. They're not, trying to pretend to be their hero, right? When you start to get a little bit older, you want to be like Spider-Man, you want to be like um, whatever idol or role model that you have. You want to, um, you know, pretend to be them. You want to be like them, but not the young kids, not the babies. They're just, I'ma do me, right? And this is level one. And it's very, very powerful. But the problem with level one is that they lack the self control, right? Babies, they're just like kids and youngsters, young children. They're just like, I'm gonna do whatever I want, and they got that power of that authenticity, but they lack self control. They lack wisdom. They lack vision and long term thinking. They're just in the moment, and so that's the issue with um, of the level one, right? If you were a Super Saiyan one right now, as an adult, you probably would get locked up. You probably get arrested or some shit. You're gonna go do some crazy shit if you're doing what kids do right now as an adult. You most likely gonna get locked up or something, man. You're gonna go do some wild shit. And so, um, obviously, for this age group, it's really gonna be um, effective for that age. But as you get older, you're going to have to adapt. And this is where you turn to Super Saiyan 2, right? You level up to that Super Saiyan 2 mode. And when you're at Super Saiyan 2, right, this is when you're pretty much in your teenage and adult stages of life. You have control over yourself and you're more articulated, right? You can express your opinion, you can talk to people, you have this power and ability to connect with other people, right? So I would pretty much say that maybe more than 50% of people in the world make it to stage 2, right? If you live a normal life, if you have decent parents or guardians or whatever, and you didn't have too much of a traumatizing childhood, then I would say that more than 50% of individuals and humans, they're going to make it to stage 2, right? Super Saiyan 2, which is the power of being able to socialize and connect with other people. Okay, socializing. This is so powerful because as kids, they don't care about being alone. They're just themselves. But like social connection leverages the power in numbers, the power in groups, because the lone wolf, as they say, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives, right? And that's an absolute fact. That's that's what it means to be a human being, is to socialize and conform into the group, because this is where we're safe. Like the mindset that we had from back in the ancient times up until now is that we move as a group, we move as a pack, and this is where we have safety, this is where we have security, this is where we thrive and build as a civilization. And so that is the power of when you're at Super Saiyan 2 level. You know how to go through life. You can probably negotiate, like, even just loosely, and just talk to people and just find your way and navigate through the world. Okay, so this is the second level of confidence at that Super Saiyan 2. And so now we reached the point, and I'll say that 80 to 90% of individuals, of people, they don't make it to level 3, right? Most people don't graduate past Super Saiyan 2 level and reach the point of level 3. And this is why you see a lot of people, they either have like, issues in the future in terms of like handling their emotions, right? There's people who just have complete meltdowns. That's one side of the extreme. And then you also have people who they don't know how to communicate their worth. They don't know how to express their their true intentions, right? Fucking hell, my nose is uh, people that don't know how to express their intentions, people that, right, the good thing, the good thing about being able to socialize and talk to other people when you're at Super Saiyan 2 is that you know how to bring people in together. The issue is that most people, I'm gonna say like 80% or maybe 90%, everybody's wearing a mask, right? Everybody's wearing a mask to conceal their intentions. They're concealing their intentions. They're, they're just fake. A lot of people, they're fake for the wrong reasons. And then there's just people that ultimately, and this is where most people fall into this bucket, is that they lost touch of who they actually are and they can't even like show their real personalities, right? That's where majority of people kind of fall into, and they don't graduate to that third level. And Super Saiyan 3, this is where the man, the woman becomes the master. And that's mastery over your inner child, right? Because as we start to grow up, as we start to, develop and go through life, what people don't understand is that that inner child, that 5-year old version of you, 3-year old version, even 7-year old version of you, all of those versions didn't go away. Like it's still who you are, right? And when you experience shit through your life, and anytime you experience anything that you internalize negatively, all of those things, all those emotions and traumas and things that you never addressed and you never, gave yourself that opportunity to actually talk about. And I'm not talking about with other people, I'm talking about with yourself, right? I'm not talking about therapy, I'm not talking about counseling or any of that shit. I'm talking about actually looking in the mirror and having that conversation about with yourself about those things. And I'm also not even talking about reliving those experiences, right? Not necessarily, because if you really have been through some shit, like some dark shit, like you probably don't want to actually relive those you know um extreme emotions. Like nobody wants to go through that shit again because it scarred you. But it's all about just kind of viewing it in introspection and giving your inner child, right? Yourself, giving yourself the opportunity to actually release all of those pent up emotions, right? Maybe you have some things that you experienced that you just kind of bottled up and you held it inside for just so long. And, you know, because you've been holding on to those things for so long, it's like this is where you feel, you know, at times when your emotions just get out of whack and you get so emotional you can't control your emotions because you never gave yourself the chance to even feel them in the first place, right? So if you're able to address whatever kinds of feelings that you've been holding on to for all of these years, if you're able to actually do that and actually heal internally by just facing these things, this is where you would graduate to that third level of the Super Saiyan 3. This is when you become the master. Okay? And what happens here, right? The first we talked about Super Saiyan 1 is your rawest authentic self. You're just like fuck the world, and you're just present with yourself. You're raw, you're unfiltered and fully authentic, and no influence is affecting you at all. This is level 1, right? But you lack self-control in Super Saiyan 1. When you go up to Super Saiyan 2, this is where you start to, conform to society, and you have that power to communicate with others, right? You can make friends, and you can build alliances, and you can, have your social groups and things like that. The problem with this stage is that you start to sacrifice a lot of who you are for in exchange for that acceptance with other people, right? When you're at level 3, this is where authenticity meets vision and true confidence, right? What kind of vision am I talking about? I'm talking about you can be your realest self, and you can step into a vision that you have for where you want to go for your life, right? And that vision is clear, and that true confidence is you just going straight at whatever it is that you want unapologetically, right? Like nothing is ever going to hold you back. Not people pleasing tendencies, not, you know, whatever the fuck it is, like limiting beliefs that's just blinding you and secretly self-sabotaging you, right? You know how you ever notice how like you want to be successful, you want to make a lot of money, you want to get a lot of girls, you want to approach and confidently just, you know tell a girl what you want, what's on your mind. You want to just tell people what are your true intentions. You want to negotiate confidently with other people, right? And not be held back of limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging behaviors, right? That's what it means to step into that when you're at level 3, right? When you're here, you're able to have the world, like what Tony Montana says, the world is yours, right? You can have the world with a child's level of desire, because you got, like, we all know, like, babies and kids, when they want something, they fucking demand that shit, right? Like I'm gonna get my shit. I'm gonna get my toy. I'm gonna get my candy. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna get that shit. That's you can have that, the world, like whatever it is, when you put your mind to it. You can have it. You can have that, and you have mastery over the third dimension. This dimension that we live in, right? Because you have unleashed your full potential. You've uncovered all of those things that's been holding you back. Because Literally, the thing that's holding you back is just you yourself, right? But if you don't know how to get out of your own way, if you don't know how to overcome your fears, if you don't know how to overcome the invisible hand that's influencing and dictating your life, if you can't see what that is and you can't overcome it, you're always going to be stuck in this loop of wanting to have success, but you self-sabotage, you destroy everything that you work for. Or you get to a level of success and you start to get some momentum, but then you start to have some, you know, um what do they call that? Where you're just fucking hell. You have not an identity crisis. You start to have momentum and you start to have this oh fuck man, this is it's just escaping me, but like you don't feel like you're worthy, basically. You don't feel like you're deserving of what it is, right? You're gonna have so much momentum. You're gonna start to get some wins in, but somewhere down the line, you're gonna fuck everything up. And the crazy thing is that you notice it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's not a one thing. It's a cycle that's just going and going and 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 it's always gonna happen. But you're wondering why. Like, and if you're not a victim, you would you're going to blame yourself, right? If you are a victim, you're going to blame something else, some external factor that's outside of you. But the truth is that there's something that's just holding you and keeping you from actually fucking going past level 2 and graduating to that next level. Imposter syndrome. That's what I was trying to think of. Imposter syndrome. Like you start to get ahead, you start to see some progress. You're getting some progress, but then imposter syndrome kicks in. And the imposter syndrome is that the identity that you have of yourself is not matching the the thing that they're seeing in the real world, right? You have an image, you have a um an identity that you hold about yourself, and it's internal and it's fucking deep too. But when you start to see progress, you start to see some wins, you start to see some growth, you start to see things go upwards, whatever identity, which is 9 times out of 10 is not a good one, it's a negative one, because that's why people don't get their top potential. They don't get higher and higher because the negative identity that they hold within themselves, telling yourself you're not worthy, telling yourself that you're never going to be good enough, telling yourself that you're not confident, comparing yourself to other people and making yourself feel small. This conversation that you're having with yourself, it's a subconscious thing, right? It's not typically going to be loud because you're going to be, saying all your affirmations, listening to motivating music and talking your shit and just, showing that you're confident. You're going to the gym and you look like you're confident on the outside, but deep down, because you have a lot of unresolved issues and emotions, and your inner child is still not healed, because you have these things that you're not addressing, you're going to have that imposter syndrome, and you're going to fuck it up somehow. You know it. You know that you're going to fuck it up somehow, because that's how it works. That's why people self-sabotage, right? And if you can actually graduate to that next level, if you can match your authenticity, your authentic self and your authenticity, if you can match who you truly are to the ability to socialize and connect with other people, and you have that vision for the life that you want to live through the path of self-healing and self-acceptance and forgiveness for yourself, if you can do all of that, you're going to have limitless potential, because all of the traumas are healed and your limiting beliefs are destroyed, and you're just going to fucking go through whatever whatever life throws at you. You're just going to fucking bulldozer through and not give a fuck on God. So my final notes on all of this is forgiveness. Okay, you got to have forgiveness for yourself. Forgiveness is so important because the emotions of guilt and shame, if you look up on the frequency chart, just go type in Google frequency chart, you're going to see all the different emotions that human beings have. And they're all on this spectrum of high frequency to low frequency. The emotions of guilt and shame, they are the lowest vibrations on the chart. So until you're able to forgive yourself, and I'm not saying like, just a little forgive, like you actually gotta fucking forgive yourself. Like you deserve, like yourself deserves that of you, to have that talk, and the deep talk, and just actually forgive yourself so that you can raise up to the higher vibrations. If you can raise up your level of frequency, your baseline, and raise up, and you can uncover and let go of all this guilt and shame that you have about whatever is holding you back, that's where you start to really take off, and you can sustain more of that progress. Another thing is that healing takes time. Okay, healing takes time, because depth, going deep within yourself, depth gives you mastery. If you skip over these things, if you go over these things lightly, you're just going to be in a loop, like you have been, and you know that you've been there. You're going to be in that continuous loop, and it's never going to change, because you're not actually getting to the root cause of what's really holding you back. So understand that healing takes time. Okay, don't be like these people who think it's gonna take, a few minutes. It's gonna take a minute. You're gonna watch a video online, and think, um not my video, but those short videos that tell you, fuck your feelings, and you just go do your shit. Like, nah, healing takes time. It's just like imagine if you go, if you want to have two kinds of meals. You can eat a meal that was cooked in 3 minutes, right? It's just instant. Get it from McDonald's, you eat it, and then later on you still feel like shit. Like, it's gonna feel kind of good when you're eating it, but then you're just gonna feel shit after that. Or compare it to eating like a really nice home cooked meal, made by your mom, made by your grandma, or whoever. Like somebody put some heart and soul into stirring that pot and cooking that food with patience, with intention, with love, and with the intention of I want this meal to hit home for this person who's going to eat it, right? Like, that's the difference. You don't want instant meals, because that's what you've been eating for the last few years. That's why you're still fucked. You're missing what your soul is missing, is that real good home cooked meal. that's going to heal your body, heal your mind, heal your spirit, and take you to the next level. It's the type of food that when you eat it, like, you feel refreshed, you feel rejuvenated, you feel energized, you feel like you want to just go to that next level. So that's the second thing there, is that healing takes time. And the third and final one is that, just, why are you doing this? Like, obviously you want to get to the next level, but it's also to just know yourself, right? Or rather, not know yourself. It's more of remembering who you are, right? It's not about knowing yourself. You know yourself. But over the years, you just forgot what it's actually like to be you. You forgot what it is that you needed. You forgot what it is that you've been missing. So remember who you are. Remember who you are. If you feel like this video helped you out, if you feel like this video gave you some kinds of direction and, um, probably helped you in some way, I would honestly appreciate if you did like it, if you subscribed, if you follow me. Check me out on Instagram at John Dean, JohnDean.vs. I talk a lot about this stuff, and about inner child mastery, self mastery. This is all for you, man. You know, you don't got to do this for nobody else. This is really just you building that strong foundation for yourself. Because if you have a strong foundation built in, you can take over the world if that's what you want. You can have the world, which means different things to different people, whatever that means to you. The world is literally, literally yours. All you have to do is give yourself permission to go and get it and receive it.